Hey, Owen, how you going, mate?
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? All right, mate?
Yes, how are things? Everything okay?
Yeah, good, mate. All good. Thank you. You too?
Yes, good, all fine, no problems.
Good on you, mate. That's excellent. How's it over in Wales, mate? Everything okay?
Everything's okay. We are still in lockdown, so we're still
Yeah.
very much alone, if you like, and things are a bit different. But yep, we're getting on with it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we've turned the corner and things are starting to get better. So yeah, just taking it a day at a time, but a good day at a good day at a good time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you look well, mate. That's good. That's the main thing, eh?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yourself? You've got a new look. You've moved.
Mate, my wife tied me down after last week. I looked like a hairy beastman last week, so she tied me down and started and shore me like a sheep.
There we are anyway. Yeah, as long as she's looking after you anyway.
Cheers, mate. That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, are we in? Are we going for it?
Mate, we're going for it. As soon as we join, we're recording.
Good stuff. All right, okay. And we're on. Boom. Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
So what's your hobby been like, Josh?
Mate, well, I'll show you if I can pan the camera around, you can see a table set up.
Wow.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So, now, as you know, I've sent you some information on the fanzine. You've had first eyewitness glance at the cover.
Yes,
it's all about a certain a green skin army that we're previewing in the first issue, and then me and Marcel did a remote game playing out a scenario late this afternoon, and it was his first game, and I crucially made a big mistake towards the very end of the game, which means we need to replay the game. But that's okay. Right. We had a lot of fun, and he had a great time, and we're going to play it again and make sure. Now we know we can't make the same mistake next time. So we had some really fun moments. We had the gyrocopter crashing on top of Skarsnik and Gobbler, which was just incredible. And my spells that I drew were absolute rubbish, and there was no magic in the game. And yeah, the dwarves were just massacred in the end. And yeah, it was a fun little battle. But
that looks fantastic. That reminds me of the Battle of Bugman's Brewery or something like that. Is it?
That's it. That's the one. That's the one, mate.
That's it. Your battle. Got it. Yeah.
You got it, mate. You got it. Perfect. You got it in one. Thank you very much.
So you've got Bugman's Brewery at the back there. You've got what's on the table there? I see some goblin archers. Is that right? Or what have you got?
Yeah, we've got actually 4 units of goblins. We've got 1 unit of goblin of archers of 20 archers. We've got 1 unit of goblins with hand weapons, 1 unit of netters and clubbers. We've got 1 unit with spears, and we've got the squig herders, and we've got 4 hoppers. I think there's only 1 left, I think, by the end. Mm-hmm. And we've got 1 stone troll, and Skarsnik and Gobbler comprising 4 the goblins. And then for the dwarves, there's not many dwarves left because they've all been taken off. We had 15 rangers with Bugman himself, and we had 10 thunderers, 12 slayers, and a gyrocopter.
Brilliant. And a giant pair of glasses as well. I like that.
Yeah, these magnifici. For me, for an old bloke like me to see what the hell's going on.
There's no excuse for any just missing those glasses, is there? Yeah.
But we had a great time. So
I'm really jealous, Josh. That looks fantastic. I mean, what a game! And you played this remotely, you said?
Remotely, yeah. We're gonna do an article for the fanzine too about remote play and how to do it, because some people just think, what the hell is remote play? It doesn't make any sense to them. So it's actually quite straightforward. It doesn't take a lot of technology. It's pretty easy. I think anybody can do it. If you've got a smartphone or just a tablet, I'm just running it through the tablet here, and then you're away basically. You just need that and an internet connection, and you're right. So
I'd be really interested to see how you did that, because that was something I was going to talk about today, actually, was remote play. Right. It was just, I felt, being in touch with some of my friends and some of the people I normally game with, I think looking at the fact that we're 10 months into this whole lockdown situation now, and people are getting to the stage where they're thinking, will I ever play a game again? And people are starting to sort of lose a bit of will with this, thinking, I'm painting all these figures. Will I ever play a game? Will I ever get them on the table? Will I ever, get into this situation again? And I'm just thinking of ways in which people can interact and people can play games and people can do stuff. And one thing I was going to bring, I've got this here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a really nice little game called Rangers of Shadow Deep.
Oh, yeah.
And this is, I don't know if you've heard of this, Josh, but it's basically a solo game. And that's one of the things I've been doing this week, is actually putting together a small war band for that. So it's almost like a role-playing game, but the game controls the villains, if you like. So you can war game on your own, or you can war game with a couple of people over the internet, or things like that. And it's a really good opportunity to put together, a little war band and create characters. What I've got is I've got a ranger, I've got a wolf, I've got this traveling knight that are part of the group. I've got a female warrior there, and I'm trying to think of a background for these in order to make them, sort of come alive, really.
Yeah.
So that for me would be a big thing, because apart from one game of Age of Sigmar, I think, and 2 games of Warcry, I think that's all I've played in just about a year. So it's really hard.
Wow. Okay.
So thinking of ways to interact and ways to play games like that is really a must. And I'd love to see what you use. I mean, what sort of systems do you use? Do you use a dice rolling program or that type of thing?
Nothing like that. So a lot of it's works on trust. So you're playing with your friends, you trust them. The dice rolls are off camera. My dice rolls are usually on camera. They can see everything I'm rolling, but their dice rolls are off camera. I've had no issues with people trying to cheat me, because all the people I play with are all good guys and they're all good mates.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that. I mean, it's crazy. If you're doing that, there's something wrong with you. so I just have like one camera set up, like the tablet set up so it's overlooking the table, and usually just playing a 4x4. That's probably just big enough. You don't want to do 6x4. It's just too big. Something like 4x4, like, so it's Rangers of Shadow Deep would be perfect, because it's like a very small scale game.
Yeah.
Things like Warhammer, where it's quite open terrain, it's using blocks of troops to move around. It's quite clearly visible what you have on the table. Something like skirmish games would be quite difficult, because you've got singular miniatures and it's very fine in movement and that kind of thing. So I don't know how that would work. I haven't tried it, but with Warhammer, it's quite simple and straightforward. So they can generally see what they've got on the table, where they want to go. Measurements are all handled by me. Movements are all handled by the host. So they just say, okay, Josh, I want to move a unit, 4 inches up, or march move them, or whatever. Be generous with the distances. So like if they clearly can't see, how far, unit A is to the enemy unit B, maybe just put the tape measure down beside it, or just say, mate, I think you're in charge range. I think you're okay. Just work with your opponent and that kind of thing. So that way it's sort of clearly understood, where they are, because, you've got to keep in mind, they're not standing over the table, you are, and, just help them out as you go. And we've been playing it since, I think, around about April, and I've had more games in my life than I've ever had of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, mate. I've just played so many people all around the world, and it's been absolutely brilliant. We've got to do it, Owen. We've got to do it, mate. We've got to set our game up, mate. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If you're ever looking for an opponent, look no further. I'd love to have a game. That'd be great.
We've got to do it, mate. We've got to do it. Yeah, for sure.
That'd be great. Yeah. I'll watch every dice you roll, though. I'll watch every dice you roll. You're not too far.
Roll 2 6s, yeah. If I grab them too quickly, I'm trying to shaft you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we talked about that the other day. I thought, I've never cheated in the game. And I don't think anybody has ever cheated me. I think of only one person in a Blood Bowl game that someone has tried to cheat me. That's the only time it's ever happened. I think I've been really lucky. And we talked about it on the Discord channel too. And I think it's unanimous. Like, why on earth would you want to do it? I mean, it's such a stupid thing to do, to cheat somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, I've seen a few. I can't ever say I've never cheated someone in a game, but
I'm watching you then, mate. Watching you. That's right. You're watching your dice rolls.
I feel definitely, when you were younger, it was all really competitive and that type of thing. I can remember you could buy these sort of these loaded dice that you'd throw and they'd flip over onto a 6. It was so obvious. But I can remember coming across someone who had a load of those, and his dice were jumping around on the table. They were like squigs. They went, But no, I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, I think honesty is the second best policy, as they say. So that would be good. But I'd love a game of that, and if that's something we could film for the channel, or that would be great.
Absolutely,
I'd really
enjoy do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Playing with Owen State, that'd be just one of the highlights of the year, I think, for me, mate, for sure.
No, gosh, no.
And Beastman, we're gonna give you Beastman, mate. Give you Beastman.
Yes.
Yeah, Jesse's Beastman.
Yeah. Well, I can show you. I did send you a photo earlier on this week. I did get through the post some really old lizard men.
Yes.
And I managed to get a few of those done in the evenings this week.
Cool, mate.
With old green bases, the works. So I'm building that up and looking forward to that. So things are coming along, and with a couple of my friends as well, we've been speaking about a bit of old hammer and a bit of all that sort of stuff, and getting quite enthused by it. So I think we've definitely touched a nerve really, and sort of brought something back to such an extent that my project for this week, I was going to show you. I showed you this last week.
Yeah.
Role play. So what I'm going to do, I turned to the back page, and I really like this. Okay, here's the page. You'll have to excuse me. I'm going to read from the book. Don't let chaos catch you unawares. Join the Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing mailing list. Just fill out the simple form below and send this page back to us using the prepaid coupon overleaf. We will enter your name on our mailing list for news and information about forthcoming Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay supplements and scenarios. You will hear about new releases ages before they are announced to the general public. As an extra bonus, Josh, I hope you're listening now. If you enclose a stamped self-addressed envelope with the coupon, you will also send you a pair of polyhedral dice absolutely free. Offer applies to UK only, so don't get excited. Okay. To make certain that the envelope reaches us safely, seal the folded coupon using sellotape or staples. And look at that. There's the free play. I'm going to send that off this week.
Most of those people are already dead, mate, I think. Sadly, that's a terrible joke, but I think most of them are all passed on, or they're retired, or whatever. Yeah, they're not there for sure.
I've got hope that I'm going to get my pair of polyhedral dice through the post. Okay? So I'm going to send that off this week, and we'll have a weekly update whether or not I heard anything back. Okay,
you're probably going to beastman coming, like a beastman postman coming to deliver to the or that ogre.
Maybe one of the old mail order trolls.
That's it. Yeah, the mail order troll. Yeah. That's brilliant, isn't it?
So really looking forward to that, But so, great. So that game, you played that game today? Was it the Bugman's game or?
Yeah, we played it today, but I sat downstairs and I thought, oh my God, I've made this huge mistake. And I messaged Marcel and said, look, mate, we made a big mistake and it's going to change the outcome big time. So we need to redo it again. He said, yeah, no problem. We'll just do it tomorrow night, and we'll just play half tomorrow night and half the next night. I'll just leave it set up so we can play it.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's going to be for the fanzine. So we're taking photographs. We're doing a big write up about it, and that'll be in the first issue, so people can read about it and then read the results. Wow. So yeah. So what I just told you before, we're going to, obviously replay it, so it'll be totally fresh. But the gyrocopter, exploding and flying down and hitting Scarstick and Gobbler was just one of the highlights of that game. I've never seen a gyrocopter crash on top of like a character or something like that. Usually they'd fly off the board or they just do nothing or whatever. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, that was great.
Ah, poor old Skarsnik. He's had some bad. Yeah. I've got a Skarsnik here somewhere. Actually, I'll have to get him out. I really cool. One of my favourites. It really is. So
he's brilliant.
That'd be nice. But yeah, good. So, what are your plans for next week? You got anything else other than that, or how many times do you play a week?
Well, usually I play. Remote games I haven't played for a while because I did it I was doing it like once a week last year, and then I thought I just got burnt out by it and I just had to stop playing it so much because I was playing Epic Space Marine, Warhammer, and then we started doing Mana War late towards the end of the year, which I really enjoyed. And I did that through the Discord channel with a couple of guys there. That was really, really good. And then other people started hosting too. Now, people hosting games, I really enjoyed being the guest. So I got to be a guest on a couple of Warhammer games and some Mana War games as well. So I'm trying to encourage other people to start hosting because, hosting the game is quite intensive. It's quite a lot of work. And I think every week it was just too much. And I was exhausted by the end of it. I was like, no, I can't do it anymore. So we had a big long run of that. It was really good. So now I have Justin coming up physically here. He'll come up once a month and we'll play a game of Warhammer. So I've definitely got one game in person once a month. Remote games maybe once or twice a month. Yeah.
Are there any local clubs near you or anything like that you can go and join? Or is there anything? What's the wargaming community like in Japan?
Oh, that's a really good question, Owen, and a lot of people ask me about that. There actually is a fairly decent wargaming community. It's mainly GW based, but they do play a lot of other games that have been translated in Japanese. So things like Rangers of Shadow Deep, all those games.
Right.
What's the new one? Oath? Is it Oathmark? That new one?
Oathmark, yeah.
Yeah, that's been translated in Japanese. A lot of those Osprey games have been in translated Japanese now. So they're all very sort of boutique kind of games that some Japanese people play. A lot of veterans to wargaming play those. I think a lot of the mainstream games are generally Privateer Press and Games Workshop. They've been most successful because they have everything in Japanese, and they have the Games Workshop stores. They do have those in Japan as well. So we have a store in Chiba, that's like on the west side of Japan. West side of Tokyo. So I go there. I used to go there usually once a month, but that's like a 2-hour drive for me. So it's quite a long way.
Right.
So there's nothing local. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. So you used to go to Chiba just to go to the store, did you? Or?
Yeah, we just played Warhammer. Basically, we were the Chaos Roadshow. Remember Chaos Roadshow back in the day in White Dwarves and that kind of thing? Yeah, we were the Chaos Roadshow because I would turn up with all the old stuff, and all the Japanese guys would be walking up the table and going, "Oh, sugoi," like this is a really old hammer, Fudoi hammer, like this is really old. They really loved it because they loved seeing all the old metal miniatures and all the old rules and that kind of thing. It was quite a big spectacle. Yeah, so we really enjoyed doing that. And then, of course, COVID happened, and then basically everyone sort of didn't go there anymore. People are still going there, but I don't think it's really all that safe at the moment for me to go there. So we just do stuff at home now and just do remote play and that kind of stuff now. Yeah.
Well, brilliant. You're really flying the flag there for old hammer stuff as well. So well done you. But that the Bugman's game looks fantastic, and I'd be really sort of excited to see what happens there because that is a really proper, as I remember Warhammer was, for the glory days with me. So really looking forward to that. So anyway, I just thought of, I was thinking this week about what I was going to say and what I was going to do and what sort of tales I was going to tell. And funny you should mention goblins because I don't know if you remember when I was talking about my dwarf army in the past. It was led by a guy called Vander, who was sort of a dwarf lord that I'd made up from the city of Zufbar, and he was the second son of the Lord of Zufbar. Mm-hmm. And he led my dwarf army for years and years. And we were really lucky, as you know, sort of last week, we had a lovely comment from the Goblin Master himself, and I can just remember one of his early models that came into my mind, and it just sparked, if not a story, but a beginning of a story or a precursor or a prelude to something else. So I was just going to throw that out there today and just sort of show you what I was thinking about in my mind. And I wonder how many of the viewers here will remember what I'm actually talking about when we sort of finish the tale, really, and we'll talk about that. But if it's okay with you, I just thought if we could all sort of sit and just for a moment just think about open our imaginations to what we really like about gaming, which is the stories, which is what the imagery, just seeing that table you had there brought to my mind. The first thing it brought to my mind was I talked about Zulu and Rorke's Drift and things like that. And that sort of battle just awakens so much in me, and it gets me so excited about wargaming. And what I was thinking about over the last couple of days, I just remembered that Vanda had gone on an expedition to find the lost city of Karak Sagar, which was an old dwarven ruined city which had fallen foul of goblins and Skaven many, many years ago. And he handpicked an expeditionary force just to go there and find what was going on. It had long been blocked. It had long been left to ruin. It was long been left abandoned in the mountains. And Vanda and his expeditionary force marched there through the coldest winter. And there they finally found a tunnel into the old ruins of Karak Sagar. And we pick up our story deep in the heart of the mountains, where there was a blocked tunnel and the expeditionary force could go no further. And there was Vanda walking around, stroking his beard. The smoke of the dwarven pipes could be felt throughout the caverns as all his force just sat around waiting for the engineers to blow their way through to the heart of the mountain by setting their explosives. Vanda was very cautious and had always thought about bringing in a cannon. He did not want to go anywhere without his cannon. And his cannon hung by a winch, creaking back and forth over the top of the tunnel as they brought it through, winching it over rocks in order to get there. All his thunderers were sat around cleaning their guns. His crossbowmen were there sitting, waiting patiently as the engineers set the explosives. He knew that not far from where he sat at this very moment, he would find, if the city was still there, what remained of the city, what had happened to it. And in the darkest, deepest recesses of his heart, he thought, would he find any dwarves? Would he find any of his long-lost brothers and family and friends? Would he find anything deep within there? He looked up and his thoughts were broken as the engineer gave the sign, everybody get down, I'm about to blow the explosive. Vanda lay down on the floor, put his hand on the ground and he felt something sticky, horrible underneath. And he just brushed his hands aside and made himself comfortable. He could hear the hissing of the explosives. And all of a sudden, just as the engineer called, look out! All the dwarves put their hands over their heads down to the ground, and the explosion filled the air. The whole cavern shook, the whole mountain rocked back and forth. And then the stones started to fall, one after the other, slowly, more, and then suddenly the whole pathway of the tunnel of the shaft had cleared. But Vanda knew that you did not move until the mountain stopped moving. So he kept his head on the ground. He looked around just slowly and could see all of his warriors doing the same. But suddenly an eerie silence fell on the cavern. An eerie silence that seemed to echo through eternity. And that was followed by a slow, squeaking, creaking noise. He looked up and he could see, now that the tunnel was cleared, it was almost entirely taken up by an ancient, strange machine that tugged at his heartstrings but made him sick to his stomach. There facing him, not 50 yards away, in the newly cleared tunnel, was a 3-barreled organ gun. Even from where he was and using his dwarf sight deep underground, he could see that it was covered by old dwarven ruins. But there, at the front of it, was the stretched face of a troll, pulled across the shield. And there, manning it with no respect, but quite a bit of skill, were the gippering, jumping, squealing greenskins. Up and down they jumped all over it, manhandling it so that it stretched and faced Vanda's force. He screamed, stay down, as already some of his warriors had climbed to their feet, and he heard the hissing noise as the spark on the organ gun was lit. This lead belcher was about to open fire upon his force. He knew that this would decimate him, but he had no chance to do anything, and before he knew it, another explosion ripped through the cavern, this time as the organ gun fired. He heard the firing noise and then the laughing, horrible squealing of the greenskin language. And then the barrels hit. tearing through his thunderers, tearing through his rangers, tearing through the shields of his warriors, all of them screaming. Lives that had gone on for hundreds of years just flashed out in a second. He was lucky. Just a few scratches on his arms and a tear in his beard was all that he'd suffered. But then he stood up and raised his hammer and called to his warriors, now, before they fire again. They all rushed forward as fast as their small legs would carry them, ploughing in on the lead belcher, which was frantically trying to reload and fire. They rushed towards it, and then he could see that the tunnel behind the cannon was filled with the red eyes of hundreds of greenskins, lesser goblins, great goblins, snotlings, night goblins, all behind this lead-belching horror, which had once belonged to the dwarves of Carreg-Sagar, but was now being used by their worst enemies. His whole being was filled with hatred, but he could see that the goblins were full of hatred as well. Half of his force lay in bits in the tunnel as he rushed forward. And the goblins rushed forward as well. And the clash of arms began as a great battle took place deep under the Black Mountains in the ruins of Carreg-Sagar. And there we have it.
Mate,
just
beautiful.
The start of something.
I wanted to keep going. Don't stop.
So do I. I don't know what's going to happen. But it was all to do with. I don't know if you remember it, Josh, but if you Google the Goblin Lead Belcher, it was a figure that Kev made all those years ago, and it was a captured dwarven war machine with a troll's face stretched along the front, and it came. That was a kit in about 1986. And also another kit called the Skull Crusher, which was a goblin stone thrower. And I had both of these in my youth, and I used to love these figures. And they're so evocative of that era. And, I wish some of the guys watching would take a look at those, because they symbolize all what is old Hammer to me. That sort of, grotesque, ugly, but slightly comedic style of the goblins, which for me growing up attracted me to them so much, and the dwarves, And I hope you like the little ick reference in there as well.
I loved it, mate. That's brilliant.
Yeah, as I was picking my lizard men this week, I was thinking of that, and I was thinking, wow, that's great, because I've started looking at a background for my lizards, and that is all about an old world force that has gone to Lustria and has managed to come across one of these old pyramids. I haven't got into it in detail at the moment, but I think the leader of my lizardman army will essentially be a pirate who has come across a way to get them to follow him, almost like they believe he's some sort of god,
Cool.
So we might have a band of pirates or some sort of old worldian sort of expeditionary with a basically a slave army of lizard men working for him, which is going to be which is going to be interesting, I think. And it sort of blends.
That's a good take on it.
Yeah, blends it into the background in a slightly different way.
Cool. But mate.
Yeah. So that's it. So that was good. So I'm going to explore Rangers of Shadowdeep. I'm going to send off my my Warhammer Fantasy roleplay.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, I know. It's got a prepaid second class stamp on it. So
just do me a favour. Don't look outside for the postman every day, please, mate. Okay.
Oh yes. For the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Get my pair of dice, which I'm looking forward to. Oh, I've also been doing a friend very kindly, thanks to Justin, my friend Justin, bought me for Christmas a nice set of, I don't know if you know Warriors of Erewhon. Have you come across the Warlords of Erewhon? Sorry, have you come across that? It's a Rick Priestley system.
That's right.
Which Warlord Games have made, and we've played quite a few times. Cool. But they've brought out a Mythic Americas supplement, which is all about based with Native American tribes and Aztec people and Inca people. And he bought me the starter pack of that for Christmas, and we split it between us. Cool. And I've picked 3 Sasquatches, Sasquatches, you look for them for hundreds of years and then 3 come along at once. So, you know, right? The most elusive of creature. But I painted 2 of those, and I've started painting some Native American Mohawk warriors as well. So I've done a bit of that in the evenings this week as well, which has been entertaining. And I can show you some of that. But my interest is definitely piqued by your Bugman's brewery game there.
Yeah, well, how about we do a remote game of Warhammer, and how about you introduce me to one of your games, one of your new games there, in a remote place? Yeah.
That's a deal. I can set once I see how you do it and how we can work it out. Then no doubt I can do it the same, and we can play a remote game or something as well.
Yeah,
and that'd be great. Yeah,
that'd be nice.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, good. No problem at all. I think that's about us, is it? Are we almost out of time, Josh? Or?
I have absolutely no idea. I think so, mate. I think so. We'll call it there anyway, because I think that's a good place to stop. But anyway, I think we could talk for another hour or so, mate. Easy. But thanks again for your time, there, mate. It's been good to catch up. And again, hopefully we can do this every week and catch up and to see how we're going, keeping in contact, hobby progress. Those polyhedral dice are on their way from the postman, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys. And thanks for the lovely comments we've had as well. I've been reading what's been put on Josh's channel. And again, if anyone is interested in storytelling, I know in lockdown it can be hard to try and find some entertainment. And if anyone is willing to just listen to me speak, I've got my own channel on Time Between Times storytelling on YouTube, and I'd be grateful of any subscriptions from that as well. So it's something I'm trying to build. So please, if anyone's got any interest or any questions they want to ask me, then drop me a line there as well, and that'd be great. But hey, thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And yeah, urge anybody to go and check out Owen's channel. It's really worth your time to go there and just have a listen to the stories there. Okay, so if you like what you see here, please go and visit Owen's channel. You won't be disappointed. All right, Owen.
Hey, Dwarf. Thank you very much, Josh.
Okay, mate. Take care. Okay, mate. Thanks very much. Okay, take care. Have a great weekend, mate. Okay, see you. Okay, bye-bye.